All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. So we're going to talk about a very, very super important topic, which is why is my baby crying so much? Why is my baby fussy? You know, you have a lot of parents who just say, oh, my baby just cried a lot, you know, or was fussy the first 2 years of life, all of that stuff. And so let me introduce you. This is Dr. Nicole Heatherly. This is Nurse Katie Engelhardt.
Hello.
And I'm Dr. Amir Rashidi. And the reason I have them in the video is because they have tremendous experience in this field as well, and so do I. So why do babies cry? Do you guys think the babies cry because they're worried about the election coming up?
I don't think so.
No, you think it's the stock market they're upset about? You know, although stocks are doing well, but you know, because you have a baby, right? Does she know what's going on?
She usually doesn't cry about the stock market either way.
Is she a Democrat or a Republican? Do you know?
I don't even want to talk about it.
The point is, guys, that babies, they don't know what's going on in the world. So they don't know that there's rioting going on or there's you know, issues or whatever else it might be. They don't know those things. What they do know is, are they happy or are they not happy? Well, by nature, when a baby's comfortable, they're happy, right? When a baby's uncomfortable, they're going to be upset. So how much does Lexi cry?
Not often.
And she's a year old. She's almost a year old, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what I told you when you were pregnant? I said your friends are going to be jealous because your baby's not going to cry as much as theirs. And we see this a lot where people go, I'm so jealous. How is it you can sleep at night? How is it your baby's not crying all day and all night? Why isn't your baby like clenched and tight and, you know, upset all the time? I thought all babies were supposed to be upset. That's not the case. Babies are supposed to be happy and calm, and they should sleep a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
Well, Lexi does.
Oh yeah, she
right?
sleeps.
So anyway, so what do you recommend? If a baby's crying, what do you think's going on?
You know, as a chiropractor, we know that means they're not happy. And we work with the nervous system. So, you know, crying equals probably a misalignment. And what happens in babies, they become misaligned. And a lot of times they become misaligned either through the birthing process, coming out of the canal, or just us handling them, right? You know, a lot of patients, people, you know, incorrectly, there is an incorrect way to pick up babies, believe it or not. So through handling them, they have misalignments as well. And then what happens is when they're in a certain position, they're uncomfortable. So we'll see flipping over onto their tummies or back and forth way too soon, or lifting their head up way too soon. They don't have enough muscle strength when they're a tiny little baby, or just crying, just fussy because they're hurting. So, you know, we check those babies for nerve interference.
Absolutely.
Bottom line, they're not healthy. A healthy baby is going to be a happy baby. Healthy and happy, right? And if they're fussy, they're upset, there's a reason for it. But you know, here's the problem, they can't tell you. They can't say it hurts here, or it hurts here, or my leg hurts. They can't tell you that. So you gotta find an expert like myself, like Dr. Nicole, who can check them, and we will be able to tell you if something's out of alignment and if it's interfering with the nervous system. There are ways, there's tests we can do. So when did your baby get her first ever adjustment?
So Lexi was born at 7:15 in the evening, and by 9:15 that evening, I had this guy in the birthing suite adjusting Lexi.
And what was your experience? What were you feeling? What were you seeing? What were you experiencing?
It was an incredible experience to see how relaxed she was. She was getting an exam from the midwife, screamed the whole time. Not a happy camper. First of all, she's just been born. It's very cold. It's not the same as being inside mom. Second of all, somebody's handling her. They're touching her, they're poking her, they're lifting her up, they're doing all this stuff, right? Not happy. Dr. Amir comes in, he starts doing his assessment of Lexi. She's calm as can be. I think she slept through part of her adjustment. She didn't fuss one bit, except one time he made the terrible mistake of taking off her blanket. Once we put it back, we were all good. But it was peaceful, it was calm. It was incredible to see how her body actually did the adjustments themselves, actually. So, pretty cool. So,
What did the adjustment look like to you as a parent? You know, you're seeing someone handle your baby for the first time and push on different things, and a baby adjustment is different than an adult, right?
And grandma was there too, your mom was there as well.
My mom was there,
So a lot of people here think about the popping when an adult gets adjusted, and if you guys have watched any of our videos, you see with adjustments there is a popping noise a lot of times, a little air bubble. So with that knowledge, you knowing what an adult adjustment is like, well, how did you feel having her adjusted?
So of course there's always a little bit of trepidation when you hand like a 2-hour-old tiny human to somebody that's not mom, right? So you hand this baby over, and you know your knowledge about the popping and the cracking that's sometimes sounds that you hear when you get an adjustment for an adult, and then you see the amount of pressure that goes into a baby adjustment is so tiny you can't even tell it's happening. It literally looks like he's just holding her, moving her, just touching different areas of her body. And Dr. Nicole adjusted her just a few days later. Same thing, the most gentle, calm, reassuring touch. It was more gentle than, you know, when you see your friend and you give them a hug, like way gentle. So
yeah. And do you want to tell them about this is a really cool story, what Lexi was experiencing before one of her adjustments in terms of the nursing, because that's a lot of
so we nursed with Lexi for a long time at the beginning of her life, and she at the very beginning she had a really hard time nursing from the left side. She didn't want to turn her head to that side. I would try like different tricks to get her to nurse from the left side versus the right. She always liked the right. And so I told Dr. Nicole about this, and she did an adjustment for Lexi, and the very next time she nursed, boom, right on the left side, no problems, no issues. And anytime we ever experienced that where she didn't want to go on the left side, and I came to Dr. Nicole or Dr. Amir and fixed her right up. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. And we see a lot of babies for nursing issues. We also see babies for colic or difficulty going to the bathroom, and those are all symptoms. But, you know, like Dr. Amir said, crying is also a symptom. I see all the time when I ask, is your baby sleeping? You know, how fussy are they? And I hear parents say all the time, oh, they're just a normal baby, so of course they're up all night. You know, it's just a normal baby, so they cry all the time. That's not normal. You know, it means they're unhappy.
And I'll tell you something. This is kind of a difficult subject, and it's very serious. There's fluid around the brain. That fluid is called cerebrospinal fluid. That fluid has a flow and a pump. It's not the heart that pumps that fluid. It's the tailbone that rocks back and forth, and the cranial bones that expand and contract that cause that fluid to flow around the spinal cord and the brain. And it is absolutely critical that flow continues to happen. Now, if that flow ever stops, that's one of the reasons babies will cry, and that's the main reason a baby will not sleep. Now, I was one of those babies. This is why I did all the research on this, because my mother says for the first, 8 months, 9 months of my life, unless I was being rocked, I could not sleep. What does rocking do? It pumps the cerebrospinal fluid and it makes it flow. And if I was held still, I would wake up and I would cry. My brain wouldn't allow me to fall asleep, because this is the part that's hard to say. I would have died if I wasn't rocked and I did fall asleep, because that's when you stop breathing. So as long as you're rocking the baby, that fluid gets pumped. But the reason it's not pumping, it's not flowing, is because something's restricted, either at the very bottom where the tailbone is not moving back and forth, or the cranial bones aren't expanding, contracted properly, or the first bone in the neck is misaligned and it's not allowing the brainstem to communicate properly. It is absolutely critical. My son wasn't breathing when he was first born, my oldest. And again, right in the hospital, they wanted to take him to the NICU. And the story, we'll tell the story in another video at another time. But in the hospital, I took his head. I had already been trained in pediatrics, and this is what I used to adjust him. I held his little head. I put this tip of this finger on the bone that was misaligned, and all you do is hold it. The weight of a nickel is the amount of pressure you use on that. I just held it, and his head slowly relaxed back into my hand. The bone went back into place. He started breathing normally and started crying. We actually hadn't even heard him cry until that moment. So listen, it is critical. If babies are not happy, there's something wrong with them. Let's make sure we all have happy babies. I'd love to see every baby be healthy and happy and grow and do amazing things.
Thanks for joining us.